Hi, this is Ria Patel with Fauzi Al Shaira, and we are here to talk about Oracle Integration Cloud Disaster Recovery Solution. There are two available options for OIC DR, Oracle Integration Cloud Disaster Recovery: a customer managed disaster recovery and Oracle managed disaster recovery. At first, let's look at customer managed disaster recovery. The two Oracle integration instances in architecture are designated as primary and secondary, and both the instances run concurrently and are accessed using a single custom endpoint. However, only one of the instances receives traffic. Initially, it's the primary instance that receives the traffic flow. When this instance becomes unavailable, the updated DNS record routes the traffic to the secondary instance. There are several key considerations, such as this setup requires synchronizing the Oracle integration metadata at both the sites using CI/CD pipeline. If there are scheduled integration, scheduled parameters may not be the latest in secondary instance as it depends on their updating frequency. And if a connectivity agent is required, you must provision and configure separate connectivity agents for both the primary and secondary OIC instances. There are several prerequisites for the solution to be implemented. You need to have an access to OCI console and more than one subscribed region for accessing two different OIC instances from two different regions with the same number of message packs for being able to handle the estimated usual volume. Obtain a custom hostname in a domain of your choice, or optionally you can use an OCI domain name system zone to resolve the custom endpoint name. An SSL certificate with the hostname. Which OCI resource is required in primary and secondary regions for the solution? OIC instances with a single custom endpoint configuration on both of them. VCN setup with public subnet to host load balancer along with NAT gateway and internet gateway routing. Load balancer configuration with SSL certificate to front-end OIC instances, and DNS configuration by adding both IP addresses of load balancers in the records. Main steps of this solution configurations are creating integration instances in two different regions, creating a single custom endpoint for both integration instance, front-ending these integration instances with load balancers, validating SSL certificates, and optionally you can test the connectivity of integrations with Postman. Otherwise, that can be tested by checking if OIC console is accessible through the browser or not. Configuring a disaster recovery solution using traffic management steering policy is the last step. There is a reference document linked here to dive deeper in this topic in case interested. Now we can jump to the demonstration of how the Oracle Integration Cloud's customer managed disaster recovery can be configured.
Hello everyone. So this is the video demo for the OIC Customer Managed DR. So following the steps mentioned in the PowerPoint slides. So over here, when the primary instance integration will be in the Ashburn. So you would go to the developer services, and under application integration, you'd go to integration. And as you can see, I already have my instance created. I called it OIC01. That's the primary. And to go inside the instance, and you would go to custom endpoint, and that's where you create your custom endpoint with the subdomain and your domain name. And the same thing you would do as well for the secondary instance. You'd go to the secondary region, and as you can see, I have the OIC02, which is my secondary instance, and create custom endpoint, and this would have also the same subdomain and domain as the primary. So this is how you create for the custom endpoint. And next, I'll be going over the networking. So I'll show you the networking for the Phoenix region, but just to let you know, everything is replicated. So you'd have to do everything on both regions. And so first off, you'll go to the networking and go to the virtual cloud networks. So we'll be creating a VCN, and I've already created the VCN for the Phoenix. And so we needed to do this for both Phoenix and the Ashburn, my primary and the secondary. I have Phoenix as a secondary and Ashburn as the primary. So after you create the VCN, you'll need to have an internet gateway created, and it need to be facing the IP address for the instance. So the internet gateway, and you'll need to make a route table. The default route table would be already there. And after creating an internet gateway and a NAT gateway, the NAT gateway is facing the integration instance, and the internet gateway is just open for the internet. And you'll need to have a subnet. And for the subnet, which was going to be using the default route table and the default security list. So for the security list, it needs to be open for port 443 on all quad zeros. So this is how we'll connect to the load balancer will connect to the instance through the security list in the subnet. And after creating the VCN with the subnet and all the requirements, we'll go ahead and create the load balancer. And so the load balancer, you'll create it, and you'll need to also attach the SSL certificate to it, which is a load balancer certificate it's already attached to, and you'll need to have a host name with the custom host name you had. And for listeners, you'll need to have it on HTTPS port 443 and with the host name, and it's using the SSL certificate. And for the backend set, um, we'll have the backend set pointing to the integration instance. And it's also open on port 443. And don't forget, we'll also need to be creating this for both Phoenix and Ashburn. And after that, we'll go to the integration instance. Could be under developer services, integration. And after going into the integration, you open the console. And right now we're basically going to make a custom endpoint for the OIC. And basically that's how we're going to connect to the integration. So you'll go to projects, or actually before that, you'll be at home and you'll browse the store, and you need to search for the Echo. And after searching that, over here you'll have a button says Get, which I already have it in use. So after getting this integration, you'll go to the Echo request over here, and it should be activated. And after activating it, you'll run it. And after running it, you'll get basically this URL path and the endpoint metadata over here. And these are the links that we're going to use to access the integration. And after that, we'll be creating the authentication for it. So to create the authentication, I need to go to Identity and Security. We'll go to Identity to Domain. And I'm currently using my default domain. So we'll go through that, and with integrated applications, you need to create an authentication application. So it will be under confidential application. You'll go through that and create it, and you can add the the instance's URLs to it. And after doing that, can grab some of the information over here, the client ID, the client secret, and the rest of it. And to test out the connectivity, which is optional, you can use Postman. So I have it already prepped over here. And so for the Phoenix, you'll have the variables over here, and you'll have a GET request using the variables, and you'll basically get a new access token, and I have it completed. So I'll send the request, and we have a success message. So this is basically connecting to the custom endpoint within the integration. And just like I was saying, we'll have it for Ashburn and for Phoenix. As you can see over here, I have good connectivity for both of them. So after achieving connectivity with both integration, we'll be going to the zones. So it's under the DNS management. So it's suggested to have your zone not in the same region as your either of your instances. So I have one in Ashburn and one in Phoenix. So I chose to put my zone in Melbourne region. And just like you can see over here, I have my DNS zone over here and the records. I added both not integration instance, sorry, because I added the load balancer because that's how we're connecting to the integration. So you'll add the load balancer for the Phoenix and the load balancer for the Ashburn. You'll have both of their IP addresses, and they're also cooled by the steering policy, which you go back, the traffic management steering policy. So this is acting as our failover policy. So click on it, and there's a health check, also checking on port 443. And as you can see, we have both IP addresses looking healthy. So as of now, traffic will be running through the primary, the Ashburn. And to implement a disaster, so I was gonna go to the let's go to the Ashburn. Let's go to the load balancer for Ashburn. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna go to the security list in Ashburn, and I'll take out the 443 access to it. So the public subnet is using the default security list. So from there, I'll just take out the port 443. So in that way, there's no access to the integration, the load balancer. And to test out the host name, so as you can see, after accessing the custom host name, it took us to the Phoenix region of the integration. And if we look at the health of it, it shows as unhealthy. And yeah, so if I go back and I do add the 443 port to the security list, give it a little bit, we should be able to see the health status as healthy, and the host name should direct us to the Ashburn. All right, so that was pretty quick. Now we see it as healthy. And if we go back to our custom host name, all right, so that took a couple minutes, but as you can see, when I type in the custom host name, it does take us to Ashburn. And yeah, this is it, the demo for the customer managed, the OIC DR. Please feel free to reach out for any more questions. We'll be more than happy to help.
After understanding customer managed disaster recovery solution for Oracle Integration Cloud, let's look at Oracle managed disaster recovery solution for Oracle Integration Cloud. And this is an architecture diagram for the same. Here you don't need to worry about managing DNS changes, load balancing, design time data synchronization between instances, object storage buckets, and other responsibilities. All message traffic is automatically forwarded to the correct instance. All messaging is bidirectional, meaning you can fail over from one instance to another and back. Data synchronization between the two instances occurs automatically in near real time. There are several key considerations of this solution. This functionality works only with new Enterprise Edition integration instances. You cannot configure this Oracle Managed Disaster Recovery solution for an existing instance. Solution is available in several regions where each region is paired with another specific region for failover. It initially started with Ashburn pairing with Phoenix as failover region, and you can find all other available pairs from the linked document. This provides an automatic provisioning of secondary instance in paired region with active passive topologies. Only one instance of the DR configuration can be active and processing transactions at a time, meaning that only one instance processes all the load even though both instances are expected to be up and running. An active instance is determined by which instance the traffic is directed to and is enabled to execute all functions, and not by its start and stop status. It is recommended that you not turn off your disaster recovery instance. So far supported components are integration, file servers, and agents. It provides Oracle managed synchronization of only design time metadata, not runtime data. There is one-click failover failback with 1 hour RTO RPO, meaning a recovery point objective period is 1 hour, which is the period after a disaster occurs during which the service can tolerate loss of data before the disaster begins to affect the business. A recovery time objective RTO period is 1 hour, which is the target time within which your service must be restored to the secondary system after a failover request. This is a quick roadmap preview where solution is planned to expand by adding available regions, by extending a capability to convert existing OIC instances for the solution, by adding supported components such as Visual Builder, Oracle Process Automation, and Robotic Process Automation, and providing additional data synchronization for runtime data, file integrations, and audit logs. These are pointed highlights of Oracle Managed Disaster Recovery solution for Oracle Integration Cloud, which we discussed a bit in detail in previous slides. If one wants to dive deeper into this topic, here is a reference document linked along with a demo video on how easy and quick it is to configure Oracle Managed Disaster Recovery on Oracle Integration Cloud. Thank you.